are going to start with the topic wise, that 11 topics I mentioned. uh, I have distributed questions for last 11 years in these 11 topics. So pre-history, proto-history, not one single question. So IVC we are starting with. So IVC 4 questions. First question regarding the IVC, Indus Valley Civilization or Harappan Civilization, as many knows, because the Harappa in present day Pakistan was the first site to be discovered. First statement, it was predominantly a secular civilization, and the religious element, though present, it didn't dominate the scene. Is it right or wrong? Yes, it was right. Although there was a religious element was present, there was bathing in Mohenjo-daro, a huge, a huge reservoir was discovered. It is considered that by some authors, some historians, that it has a religious significance, and it must have been used for by the locals for some religious gathering, for religious bath during some solar cycles, or for for some religious purposes. But because the Indus Valley civilization has such huge trade links, import export link, raw material sources links with the small cultures, so like Ganeshwar, Soti Bora culture, Rajasthan, and parts of the present day Pakistan, Afghanistan, from which they source their raw materials, and they also had the links with the other civilization of the Middle East, with which they exchanged finished products. So that means people used to come and go, traders were welcomed, and that is how Indus Valley civilization flourished. That means that people from diverse religious background stayed in those urban centers. It was an urban civilization, right? So religious element was present, but it didn't dominate, hence it was largely secular one. R.S. Sharma ji said that he's an author of reputation, that these merchants were actually the ruling class, while D.D. Koshambi ji said that no, actually the ruling class were the priests. So there is not a dispute. There is dispute that who were the ruling class, because because the Indus Valley civilization language and the their we have not deciphered their script so far, so we don't exactly know which ruling class was there, which system was there. But it is for sure that trade was so important, hence it can only be a secular civilization. During this period, cotton was used for manufacturing textile. Very, there is evidence of the cotton. I will show you. There is an image. See, there is an image of the cotton cloth on a piece of terracotta. Right, the texture is there, and these are the other images of the. This is the Pashupati Shiva seal surrounded by animals. There are two deer at the bottom of the seat. There is a horned, you can say, a headgear, and this is called Pashupati Shiva's seal. It is broken, it is not complete, and there are rhino, buffalo, wild buffalo, tiger, leaping tiger towards him, and the rest are, and there is elephant. Okay, then these are the uh, side poses of the humpless bull or unicorn bull. There is also possibility that as it is a side view, that is why it is engraved on a seal. That is why the other horn is covered by this horn, because this is a side view, and it is actually there are two horned bull, and it is not a unicorn, and it is not a mythological figure, and although it is humpless is shown, that might be a mistake, but with the details they have put out, there might be a variety of the humpless bull at that time. Okay, now this 2500, look at the sheer details and the quality of the bearded priest. This image is considered as a, because there is a headband there, there is a shawl embroidered. This is a sandstone figure from the Harappan civilization of, it is considered as a bearded priest, and this is the terracotta mother goddess image. So these are the images about the Indus Valley civilization, religious and economic aspect. Seals were used for the marking the merchandise. About the cotton, coming back to the cotton, that cotton is known by Greeks as Sindans on Sindh. So even Mohenjo-daro, it is said that a piece of cotton was discovered. Earliest evidence of the cotton comes from the pre-Indus Neolithic settlement in the present day Pakistan, that is Mehergarh, which is the earliest evidence of a Neolithic settlement in Indian subcontinent. Okay, hence only two, hence both 1 and 2 are correct. Ancient trade and economy, India maintained its early cultural contacts and trade links with Southeast Asia across the Bay of Bengal. For this preeminence of the early maritime history of Bay of Bengal, which of the following could be the most convincing explanation? It is asked, most convincing. So all of them may be correct, but we have to choose the most appropriate. As compared to other countries, India had a better shipbuilding technology in ancient and medieval times. So it is not asking about, they are not asking about just ancient times. The rulers of South India always patronized traders, Brahmin priests and Buddhist monks in this context. Monsoon winds across the Bay of Bengal facilitated sea voyages, and both A and B are convincing explanation in this context. Now look at it, this option C. Monsoon winds in Bay of Bengal facilitated sea voyages. In Bay of Bengal, so monsoons are mainly active in the Arabian Sea. We have only return monsoons which on return those monsoon waves get water from the Bay of Bengal and do some rain in early winter in Tamil Nadu coast, on Tamil Nadu coast. So it is not that monsoon winds facilitated sea voyages in Bay of Bengal. It facilitated sea voyages in Arabian Sea. So C is wrong. Now either A and B individually, either of them, or D is correct. So whether they have shipbuilding technology in ancient and medieval times. Now consider this, Indians, you must be aware of the ancient Indian, South India Indians involved in sea trade, and in both Arabic coast and as well as Bay of Bengal coast, to distant lands, Africa, Middle East, right? Even the Roman traders, Greek traders came, though Indians didn't go to Europe that much, and they did went to the Middle Eastern and African ports in Arabian Sea, using of course uh, the monsoon winds. Then because it is easier to travel long distance using the wind power, right? And then in Bay of Bengal, as well as coastal trade towards present day Bangladesh to Burmese coast and Thailand, and again ultimately to the Malaysia and Singapore, the tip of the Malaysia. So they from the north, from the Bengal Odisha region, and also from the Tamil Nadu south region. We know that the South Indian Empire, South Indian kingdoms established their rule as in Southeast Asia. We know about that. That is why Indian culture, there are number of temples of are still there. Java temple, Java, Borobudur temple, Buddhist and Hinduism both flourished in Southeast Asia, Malaysia, Indonesia, and number of South Indian uh, expeditions. So they also annexed that part, and also it was a regular cultural and economic contact, trading contact were always there. So obviously they can't do so without having good enough ships. So A is correct. The rulers of South India always patronized traders, Brahmin priests. It is talking about the patronized traders, Brahmin priests. Obviously who will involve in trade? Traders, importer, exporter, Brahmin priests and Buddhist monks. Even in there it is mentioned that early cultural contacts and trade links, right? So these classes, Brahmin priests, Buddhist monks, rulers always appease them because they have large influence. And what is the interest of the priest? They want more converts, more people who should follow them, more, right? Correct? And what is the interest of the ruler? That, okay, if they want something, don't antagonize them because they have a large influence among the masses. Similarly, for traders, what traders will do? Traders will bring in more revenue in form of the tax if they are exporting. Correct? And now, about monsoon winds use for the voyage in Bay of Bengal versus Arabian Sea, I just mentioned. About Indian shipbuilding, there are a few texts like Bhojraj Parmar of Malwa wrote Yukti Kalpatru.